Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me here. Obviously, I have to start by thanking my hosts here, the EU-India EQUIP program, and its organizers and all the people associated with it. I'd particularly like to thank Sean Nolan and Jackie Khan, who are, I think, principally responsible for bringing me here. I will focus, as you can see up there already, I will focus on a major European Union funded project that I have been coordinating over the past 4 years, called the EU-India Project Equal. But I'd like to begin with a number of provisos. This is not an entirely research-oriented collaboration. It's a consortium of 6 universities working to make a profound social impact and to use research for this purpose, but it also involves practical work in the field of education, which is perhaps not entirely like the other kinds of research that may have figured on the EQUIP platform. And in fact, I myself have always in the past been associated with direct research initiatives. Before closing, I'd also like to try to indicate very quickly how other international research collaborations in the humanities and social sciences with which I have been associated at Jadavpur University, which is my parent university, funded not only by the European Research Council, the ERC, but also by the ESRC and other bodies, have addressed societal challenges in India and how important they can be in the future. So let me begin with Project Equal and give you a very quick overview of what this was, and then go on to these other ones. Project Equal ran from 2013 to 2017. It officially closes this May, so we are just close to the end of it, and was carried out by a consortium of 6 universities, 4 in India and 2 in Europe: Jadavpur University, Kolkata, Ambedkar University, Delhi, the University of Hyderabad, and Shiv Nadar University in the National Capital Region, with the University of Bologna in Italy and King's College London. As you can see, with the choice of these universities was based upon a desire to represent the research landscape in higher education in India. There's one state university, Jadavpur, a central university, Hyderabad, a new state social sciences university, Ambedkar University, Delhi, and a private university, this is SNU, Shiv Nadar University. The choice was definitely, we wanted to go for the top institutions, but we also wanted to represent what the higher education landscape in India looks like now. And of course, our European partners are very distinguished, Bologna and KCL. The project was administered by the British Council India's Division on Internationalizing Higher Education, and we liaise in India with the EEAS, that's the European External Action Service, Europa.eu in Delhi. Project Equal was funded to upwards of €1 million by the European Union under its program Support to Indo-European Interactions in Higher Education. Now, what was the need for this project? Well, we felt, and I think it was at that time a very important sense, that there was a sense of crisis in higher education in India, which was pointed to by the National Knowledge Commission in 2006. And, the Knowledge Commission's report on higher education in India points to this extraordinary sense of crisis, which has only grown, I would say, over the years. And this is partly because of the need to enact the Right to Education Act, shamefully delayed for over 60 years after independence, but obviously increasing the mass of new learners in a huge way, and therefore we need more institutions, and we need better institutions. And we obviously have to go for digital and online methods, but we are not in favor of massive open online courses. We would prefer a more blended, more sort of interactive educational milieu. And we tried through this project to not only offer practical and scalable models, but to make critical interventions in higher education policy and in governance. And I think that we succeeded in doing this. So what were the means that we were looking for? Increased collaboration, increased student and faculty mobility, increased access, teacher-student interface, interdisciplinarity. This was a very important principle that we were working with. Increased research awareness and fostering research at all levels, which we were able to do, and increased accountability of the university to society. And this, again, was a cardinal principle with us. And so we were trying to, this was sort of our mandate. And these were the interdisciplinary areas. Let me just draw your attention to these: cultural studies, human ecology, critical thinking, and natural resources and sustainable development. 4 strands, actually. The last one is 1 strand. Offering models of best practice, creating partnerships between Europe and India and between Indian universities, which is often not the case in Indian collaborative research. Often Indian universities don't collaborate. We collaborate with institutions in the West, but we don't collaborate among ourselves. And this was very important. Jadavpur, Hyderabad, Jadavpur, Ambedkar collaboration was very important to us. So these are the interdisciplinary strands we were working with: natural resources, environment, sustainable technologies, human ecology, cultural studies, critical thinking. The work, what we were doing, collaborating on online and blended courses, which we made available, student and faculty exchanges, collaborative research studies, faculty and student conferences, teacher training workshops, policy dialogues. We have held 1 policy dialogue, and the last one is scheduled for close to the end of the project. We've also, of course, worked very closely with AICT, MHRD, UGC, and other such bodies, and publishing research papers and edited books. And these are some of the sites that we developed, the Project Equal, Equal Courses, Equal News, Equal Facebook, and the project activities, which were extensively reported and attracted their own audiences. This is just a few snapshots. I'm very, very conscious of time, Tony, so I'm going as quickly as possible. So just a few snapshots of the various resources. This is the website. This is the website again. You can see it's just a kind of collage of various pages that I've just put together to show you. This is the Equal News, the journal, it's a kind of online journal, which was also publishing work that was directly relevant to higher education issues: digital learning, culture today, human ecology, and so on. From Other Shores, First Steps, the book issue. I mean, it was really, and a lot of very good people were writing in this. This is the Facebook page where we also did, graphs and studies of who was accessing it and stuff. These are the various conferences held at different places. These are actually, these conferences were held at Jadavpur University. Technical documentation and research. So there was a certain, in fact, a fair bit of research coming out of the program. Research papers were being published by our researchers. There are more than these. I just have a few snapshots of a few. And books in press, The Future University, which I think is going to be extremely good. And, it really contains a lot of thinking about the university of the future. Technology and higher education. And this is a research survey of India and Italy, social sciences and humanities, and what is being done in online and digital learning. Just again, snapshots of the courses, the kinds of courses that we were developing. So, just taking you very quickly through, here is Moinag Bishar. This is the kind of material that's available on the courses. Supriya Chaudhuri, that was the earlier one was Omlan Dashgupta. This is the Bichitra website, which is being used as a model of a digital resource. This is the Tagore Online Variorum. This is a course developed at the University of Bologna, Introduction to Indic Scripts. You can see how, we look to them to create something that is directly relevant to India, and it's sort of shared between us, developed by Marco Franceschini. This is fascinating work and fascinating kind of teaching resource. This mainly Hyderabad and Jadavpur, just going through these courses. But the courses also involved new research, which then became part of what was being offered. Okay, just taking you through human ecology. Ambedkar was in charge of human ecology. They were also making documentary films and contributing these to the resources. So they made this documentary, Make Way, the Kumo Story, which is extraordinary, really. Critical thinking, academic writing, logic and scientific methods. You have, videos on set theory, grammar. This is me. This is critical thinking, this is Madhu Chanda Sen. So assessment framework and internal quality assurance, King's College London took charge of that from their tech-enabled TAL center, and they try. So now, let me just, I didn't want to spend too long on this, and I have other things to say. So prospective partnership, what's the future of Project Equal? The government of India, I think partly because of the kinds of dialogues that we set up and we talked with them incessantly, they have launched a massive digital initiative in higher education, which we don't fully agree with because it's very much a MOOCs-directed kind of initiative. But nevertheless, we have to be in conversation with them. We have to keep on talking to them. And we have entered into an agreement with the Ministry of Human Resource Development to upload all equal courses on the MHRD site, Swayam. That promises continuity, a perpetuity in a sense, to the fruits of the project. And we know very well that once the money runs out, we can't afford to pay for our server space anymore. Then what happens to the courses? What do we do with them? Having done, such a lot of painstaking work, there is nowhere to put them, and the universities don't have the money to keep on with them. So this is excellent that Swayam has, we are acknowledged as a partner in Swayam. The EU and UK partners have agreed to allow their material also to be used by the Indian government in this way because it's been funded by the EU, the development of this material. This formalizes and institutionalizes India-EU links in higher education, and Project Equal has already been declared as a full partner of MHRD, that's the Ministry Swayam initiative. So these are equal members, Saverio, Stulianos, Parul, me, so various people from various places. That is Sarojini from EU Delhi, Sarojini Kaul on the right-hand side. Okay, now I just wanted to take a minute to say that that Project Equal was a hugely important learning experience for all of us because what it did was to enable us to work with our colleagues in other universities to help us learn about the problems and difficulties, the challenges of higher education in India, the research challenges as well as the practical teaching challenges, and to try to do something about it. After all, we are teachers, we are not only researchers, and it is our duty to do something for the discipline, for the profession in which we work, and for the students who look to us. So yes, this is a research-directed initiative, but it's also a very practical initiative, and it was designed and developed in this way. And a great deal of very useful research has also come out of it, which has been published as journal papers in peer-reviewed journals, as well as books. But also there's been this practical contribution through courses. Other social sciences and humanities research collaborations at Jadavpur with societal impact with which I have been associated. I mean, there have been so many that I really cannot summarize all of them. One is, this one I wanted to mention this because it's one that was granted in that same group of 6 that were granted in 2012, out of the first lot of Indian-European research in social sciences and humanities. I think Professor Ajay Bailey's thing on, his project on aging is one of those. This is the other one. This is another of those 6, Indian-European Multi-Level Climate Governance Research Network. So my colleague Joyashree Roy at Jadavpur University is one of the Indian coordinators of that project. This one I'm just mentioning because my colleague Shugato Hajra, who is my joint coordinator with me on the Project Equal, is the coordinator of ESP Deltas, assessing health, livelihoods, ecosystem services, and poverty alleviation in populous deltas. This is funded by ESRC, not directly by the EU. And then there's Deltas, Climate Change, Migration, and Adaptation, DECMA, which is funded by a group of funding bodies from Asia and Africa as well. This, the one envisioning the Indian city, I was in charge of. I was directing that project. It was funded by the UKIERI UGC, so equal funding from UGC and UKIERI, and it was a marvelous project which we worked on for 3 years on Indian cities and their history and their changes and the stratification of society. And I'd like to mention finally, because Alia Carter is here from the British Library, that humanities archiving projects by the School of Cultural Texts and Records at Jadavpur University, funded by the Endangered Archives Program from the British Library, and they have a website of their own, www.granthsouthasia.org, and they are, of course, at the moment, directly involved with the 2 centuries of Indian print digitizing initiative, which is a huge initiative of the British Library. And my colleague Abhijit Gupta is the Indian and Padmini Ray Murray from Srishti, they are the Indian coordinators of that. So just a few snapshots of these other projects. DECMA, envisioning the Indian city. This is the one that I directly coordinated, and all the kinds of things. This is again a collage that came out of it. And finally, I'd just like to linger a moment on this. We developed, out of that project, we developed a mobile app. This is, it was not perhaps sorry, what do I do to get back? Yeah, sorry, I want to go to the end. I just pulled the thing down. Okay, just a minute. I don't know why it's not happening. Let me just go down like this. Yeah. Okay, right. So this is, we developed as a kind of extra to the kind of research we did, and it was entirely research-oriented, I can assure you. We developed a mobile app which will detect your position using satellite navigation, and will tell you points of historical interest that are in your neighborhood, and it will pull up old photographs from the British Library's digital archives, and will show you a photograph of that place 100 years ago. And so it involved research, because you had to stand in a particular place and know that this place is the place in the older photograph of 100 years ago, which is often not well documented. It just says a photograph of Calcutta from 1900. It doesn't tell you where it is. So my researchers had to go out and find it. But, so 13 points of interest you can see found. You're standing in the Victoria Memorial Grounds. You're looking at St. Paul's Cathedral from the east, and you have a photograph superimposed on the photograph on your mobile camera. So on the back is your mobile camera's phone, and in the front is the 100 years old photograph. And this was developed as something that came out of our research, and it was, I think, a positive gesture towards the society that we are part of and that we hope to interact with and be of benefit to. Thank you very much.